Ms. V. Good evening, Ms. V. Hey, Ms. V. Good evening. How are you? There he is. There he is. Hey, Tay.
Hey.
How are you?
Hi.
I can, I can
It's
hear
raining.
that. I like the noise.
Yeah, it's there's
It's
some
okay.
noise in
We
the
can do
background.
noise. We can have the noise. I can
Can you
hear you.
guys hear
Yes.
me all right?
Miss
Okay,
V is
cool.
doing good. Good to see you, Miss V.
Oh, hey
How
V.
was your Saturday? Yes.
Mine? Good. Yeah, really productive. I don't like I'm not a fan of like
Yeah.
being busy for busy's sake, right? Um, but I'm just constantly swamped these days. So I was like, let's let's find some plateau today. So it was it was all right, but I was swamped again. So I'm doing my best these days with
Yeah.
that.
I.
How's yours?
Well, it was one of those days today. I just everything I did didn't go right. It's one of those days. Yeah.
Oh no.
I've been rushing all day, and when you start rushing like that, you get all flustered, and it's just my energy was just not good today. Yeah. So
Mm.
that's why I messaged you that I was going to take a little bit of time before we started to calm my energy level down, to lower that vibration.
Yeah. I have um I have some Solfeggio tones.
I've
Do you
never
ever use
heard of it.
those? Um, well, it's it's such a nice. It helps with a number of aspects. Uh,
Hmm.
can you hear that? Yeah. So this is an app that I use for the Solfeggio tones. I send like all my I send all my clients to use it, especially anybody who struggles with
Hmm.
anxiety or depression. Um, and it's really good just kind of find an equilibrium and like a refresher kind of caliber
Hmm.
spot, I guess, if you want to say. So it affects the energy and
Oh,
the
I
brain
see.
waves. So, and that induces a different effect with our frequency.
Okay, so I've
Yeah.
seen a couple
So
of videos like that
it's a
on
good one.
YouTube where they have a certain amount of megahertz is supposed to do something for you. Is that what that is? On
Say that
YouTube, they
again.
have these videos where I believe it's like 1680 megahertz, and it's an 8 hour video that you watch, and it has a similar type of tones.
Yeah, so
Mm.
it's pretty much that. Anything that helps
Yep.
with the frequencies and the chakras. It's the
Ah.
same thing. So like on
Yep.
this one, you notice it's purple. Um, this is for the crown chakra, like it's 939, and then you can switch to the next one,
Oh,
and then the
yeah.
next one. You see how it
Okay.
changes colors?
I see
So it's
that.
going through all the chakras. Yeah, all the way down. I think it goes to two.
Oh,
There
that's
it
pretty
is. To
cool.
two. Yeah, to
And what
200.
app is that again?
Yeah. So it basically affects the neural pathways and the brain, um, and how that
Hmm.
produces a different frequency in terms of our system. So like for any of my clients that struggle with
Hmm.
like grounding, I'll suggest I'll suggest earthing. So earthing, I mean, earthing, and solfeggio tones. I'll suggest like other clearing stuff. So it's a
Okay,
good one.
cool. I have
Yeah,
to check that out.
it's you might like it. Just it's if I have so like before I do my lives, I'll always uh, put that on while I'm doing all my other
Mhm.
methods, and it just kind of helps. I especially like it like when I do my shamanic journeys. It helps me get into a faster place of kind of just everything is just
I see.
so yeah,
Yeah, somebody stopped me to, it was an older
yeah.
gentleman, um, and he noticed that I was really frustrated today at certain things, and um, he stopped me and he pulled me on the side, he grabbed my arm, and he said, "Hey, listen, I noticed that for the last 30 minutes or so that you're just really frustrated, and I could feel you being frustrated." He said, "Sometimes you have to find that balance. You have to step back from whatever it is you're doing, find that balance, meaning my energy, meaning my vibe, meaning my emotional state," he called it, and bring that balance, bring my vibe down, because I was just short with everybody today. It was just one of those days. So, but
So like in that kind of an instance, a good combination just for quick
mhm,
adjustment. So uh, you start with the specifics of what you're talking about, like today, doing the root chakra for
mhm,
like 5 to 10 minutes, and then switching to do the throat chakra one. That's an easy one. And then if you have extra time,
mhm.
do the heart chakra. Um, so that might be it's I don't know for that type of a specific
Yeah,
energy.
he kept talking about
Yeah.
balance. So, as we started to
Mm.
continue our conversation, I realized that his background or his belief is in Buddhism. And he said Buddhism has a lot to do with balance. Buddhism has a lot to do with the opposites, the yin and the yang. If you're one way, you want to balance off and be the other way to bring balance into your emotional state. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm.
But it's the mind keeps working. I need to get certain things done. I'm on a time frame. I promised the client that it would be done before, whatever the time frame is, and it just wasn't working out. But I got home, rushing to take a shower, iron my clothes. Yeah, I ironed my clothes. I'm proud of that. I'm very domesticated.
I love it. You got me beat on the military side of
It's
things.
just a thing, And once in a while, hey, if I'm gonna start putting my videos up on YouTube, I at least want to make sure my clothes are ironed because I think one of the first lives I did, I grabbed a shirt that was clean, but it looked like crap. So I want to make
Well, I
it.
definitely feel you on that because with doing the doing this lifestyle right now until I wrap it up soon, I was trying my hardest to find a steamer that would work with my Jackery, um, and it's too high. They're all like too high on the watts. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
dang it. So literally like I'm constantly having to like go throw stuff in and stuff
Mm,
like that. So it's just ridiculous. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of like wrinkly shit. I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah. So how are you feeling now
Uh,
that you had a little time
I'm actually a
before?
lot more calmer. As you can see, I have my little mini bar behind me. I was tempted to take a little swig. I said, nah, you know what? I don't want to do that. I think that would be so disrespectful for you, our guest, and for everybody else in chat. So after the formal part of our thing,
Whatever.
now I want to make sure that I'm always mindful and respectful of our guests and their time and their energy, and I don't want to bring that down. That's why I said, I needed to take 5 minutes just to settle myself, the calm state. I like being in a calm state most of the
Yeah,
time, but today I was not in that calm state. So, yeah,
it's totally understandable. It's totally understandable. And don't forget, you always got to do
mhm,
that for yourself first,
yeah,
then
yeah,
everybody
I
else.
realized that. And with that, I'm going to make the introduction so we can start our video. So I know exactly when to edit this video for YouTube replayers. So let's
Okay,
make some
cool.
introductions. Welcome everyone to our 3 Plus Me Saturday Night Live. We are here with a very special guest, someone who was part of a community back in another platform. And the last couple of years, when the platform went away, we actually uh, didn't get a chance to talk much or communicate much. But I think the last couple of weeks or so, we were able to touch bases and kind of come to some understandings and come to some agreements. And I love the energy between us. I've always respected this person and respected their work and their knowledge for sure, and also their personal journey. So we're going to get a little bit into that, but before we start, I'd like to introduce my two partners and the moderators for tonight. For anyone else in chat, if you have a question or anything else you'd like to bring up, you can talk to either one of the moderators, Stacy Michelle right there, Stacy Michelle Drury, and also Grizz, Jade Tiger. They are the two moderators for our chat always. The partners, the people that do all the hard work, and I get to have the fun and show this beautiful face every Saturday. And I say that with the utmost humility. And I can't believe I'm going to put that on YouTube. So, with that, I'd like to introduce our friend, um, the beautiful soul, and his name is Tay. Welcome, Tay. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, thanks for
Thanks for
being
having
here.
me. It's nice to hang
Yes,
out with you guys again.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Uh,
been a minute. Can you guys believe it's been, golly, I
yeah,
can't believe it's been like
yeah.
two years since since meeting a lot of you guys on Periscope, and well,
Yep,
almost three, really.
almost three.
Yeah, and then and then people going their
Mm-hmm.
different directions on platforms and life and community and all
Yeah,
that. So
after Periscope
yeah,
went away, it was the last few days, the energy, the vibe of people who were so used to Scope every day on a regular basis. It was like their way of socializing with others without having to be there in person. And as the days were counting down, and the rooms I would join, you could see the energy just kept getting lower and lower and lower. And it was like the countdown of the final day. And when it did hit, it still carried on for a day or two, you know? And then they said, okay, we're
yeah,
going to take everything to another platform. And that just didn't work for nobody.
yeah. I was so surprised to hear about that. I was on there for just a slight bit, and then went offline for most of last year, from about
Mhm.
like mid-February to September. And then I was on like slight bits here and there, but um, so it was interesting to see like when I kind of came back up from my deep spiritual deep dive last year and healing from some rough stuff. It was like so interesting to see what happened to everybody and the fact that there was this big jump off with a new platform and then that
Mhm.
kind of tanked and then all that. So and then just adjusting like myself, it was a long it was a very long process for me to get adjusted to everything, which made sense because it's directly
Mhm.
related to my north node. And so we're doing it now. we're adjusted and we're doing the dang thing. So
I,
you
I
know,
do.
I don't know.
I mean,
It
I
is what it is.
thought when I joined Periscope in the beginning, for me, it was just fun. It was drunken trivia every 3 times, 4 times a week, and I was not in a good mindset. I was not. I was still suffering from a trauma in my life that I really needed to heal. And for me, uh, the person I was putting out there on the internet on Periscope, I look back at it now and I think, man, you know what? It was fun, but I don't think I ever want to see that person again. I don't think I want to show that side of me ever again because it was just broken pieces of me, and I didn't know where to find the answers. I tried to find answers traditional way, and I think we've talked about this personally, you and I, but it, it, it I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. And when I found Periscope and I found the person who was scoping and giving readings, it was like finding an old friend. And we became part of that community. And for me, what really upset me with this live when we started was someone joined the live and I did just a casual live and they said, "Oh, you were so and so's boy back in Periscope." I guess it was kind of a known thing that I was connected to this person who was scoping and I was her boy, and I had to stop him and correct him. I said, "You know what? I was nobody's boy. No, and I'm still my own person. I'm not anybody's boy. So anyway, that's about me, but we're here about you. So, Tay, at any point in time when you feel that either my questions or something we might be talking about is not something you're comfortable with or sharing, I'm okay with us taking a different direction. You just tell me. Okay, cool.
Okay, sounds good. I'm usually a pretty open book. I
Yeah,
think we both know that about each other. Um, but yeah, no
cool.
problem. I'll just let you know.
I usually ask the first question. Would you mind sharing with us your origin story of how you became interested in doing the type of work that you do?
How do you even put that into like?
Oh,
I'll try to make
is
it
this
brief.
going to be 3 hours? Because we can make it two
I remember.
parts. That's what. Okay, cool.
No.
I'm only messing with you.
People, what I will say, for brevity's sake, what I'll say is just, um, if you want to know like detail background, um, like spiritual journey background, um, kind of some time frame to that. I think it's important to share those
Sure.
pieces
Yep.
just to give context, um, and then and then also just career work and things like that. It's all inside my website, so people can just go there. It's long. It's there. It's chock full of stuff. Um, but I would say actually, last year we should start just with a really brief piece. Last year, it was uncovered. Sorry, it's still really funny to me. My mom and I actually still laugh about it to this day. When I was going through some stuff,
Hmm.
when I visited back home, because I've been on the road traveling since, I've been back once, but other than that, I've been traveling through the entire United States
Hmm.
since February
Hmm.
of last year. So when I was back and I went through some more stuff in storage, um, I found an old preschool drawing, and apparently I was
Oh,
drawing angel numbers of the
okay.
people. So um, I had no idea about any of that, which later was easy to tell because, trauma tends
Right.
to fade things out and make them kind of disappear for a while in terms of our gifts, and how we connect with spirit. So that was fun to find out. But aside from that, my journey has really been kind of started back in 20. The jump off point in terms of soul connections that relate to large life aspects. The real deep abyss of that, what I found connections through, because I do a lot of research for myself and then others in the collective, that started back in 2011. And then my spiritual journey, my spiritual awakening really started in 2012. And by the fall of 2013, I was in a dark night of the soul for probably about a year and a half, 2 years. So that was like the initial stages. And through that initial period was when a bunch of my gifts started reemerging. So I thought I was having like a mental breakdown at one point, and it happened simultaneously as I was freshly into the Navy. So spirit like really apparently I really wanted to like do the most. So in my soul contract. So that was actually traumatic, but looking back on it, I can laugh all the time about it. So it's fun to talk about, fun to look back on. And yeah, but the primary way that spirit talks to me is for myself and also the collective is through intuitive numerology. And so what I like to describe for people in real brief brevity again is it's not about me being into numbers. Half my math classes I was lucky if I passed them when I was younger. And I maybe did okay with like geometry because it was visual. But aside from that, it's basically what I discovered was so the easiest way to describe it for everybody to understand it in layman's terms is when everybody sees, when y'all see the synchronicities of the same number patterns and things like that, you're seeing the same digits over and over, or you see the same this or that. Spirit's just utilizing what we have, what they have, and what we have in the 3D to communicate through numbers. It's not that, time is just relative and whatnot, but it's that it's a tool, visual tool, right? So basically, then I learned that because it still wasn't making sense, I was understanding all of these these things that they would show me, and it started happening like rapid fire. So it was very jarring for about a year and a half. I was like, what in the H is going on? And then, so I started kind of just Googling. I literally had to Google my way through the beginning of my spiritual journey and the reemergence of these gifts until I found intuitive numerology, which is this super obscure thing. So they communicate through numbers to show me how energy is flowing 24/7. That's pretty much what it is. So whenever I do my readings, whatever comes up in a specific number spot, I call it like placement or spot. That'll show me what's happening in that direct energy. And then it'll be layered from there. So yeah, it's been a journey. So that's me in a nutshell. And then I have all the different clairs, clairvoyancy and all that stuff as well is really strong. And then back at the early time frame in 2014, I made an agreement with Spirit through my free will choice that I just did not feel called to be on a medium path. Even though my mediumship is strong, it just did not feel purpose and aligned in my work for the collective to show up that way. So I just asked them to kind of just tame it down because it was too much at the beginning. It was just way too much. So... and here we are. And now I'm just basically a life coach. Last year I started my shamanic practitioner journey. And what else? Yeah, I'm a veteran. I don't know. I'm a bunch of stuff. You can find out all that like in my website.
I was
But
actually just going to ask you about that. If we could back up this a little bit, would you mind sharing your website for us so I can make some notes and I can add it to our details for our video?
Sorry,
Would you mind
I
sharing
didn't
your
catch that.
website with us?
Oh yeah. So it's here. I'll just type it in. It's Unbound. Actually, you know what? The easier thing to do is just go to my
Mm-hmm.
IG
Right.
profile. I used to have two of them, and then I got rid of the other one. So I just have this one right now, and you just go there, look at the website. I
Oh,
switched it to
okay.
LinkedIn today, and then inside of that, you'll see the website. You'll see
Okay.
other
Okay.
things. So
Okay. We'll
yeah,
do that. I want to make sure. I want
really
to make
easy to
sure
find.
we have that out for our viewers, replay viewers as well, and in the description of our video.
Yeah,
Um, so I wanted to ask
sounds
you a
good.
question. You talked about intuitive numerology. How, I don't know if this is the correct question, but, or the wording, the phrasing of it, how different is it from intuitive tarot reading? Is there any similarities with that? Or, um, I mean, you're reading a card and you're interpreting the message on the card, and I guess which the uh, in which the order makes sense. How different is that from intuitive numerology, if there's any?
So it would be, it's really different. Like intuitive numerology is even really different than numerology. So the reason why is because numerology is basically folks that they want to learn about what are these things that they're seeing or what does this number mean. There's different studies out there, different aspects. I learned that it was the Pythagorean that spirit was working
Mm-hmm.
through with me. So that's the system that I get my messages through. Um, so basically, it's a really good question. Um, there are numbers on all the cards, um, and the numbers do associate with numerology. They have similarities. The difference between numerology and intuitive numerology is that it's basically spirits clarifying certain things in a very rapid fire. Um, it's like channeled
Mm-hmm.
messages, essentially. And then what I see is like if they want to, I don't even need to ask them half the time what is going on. They'll show me because they want me to see what is the movement
Mm-hmm.
energetically going on with the collective. And then there's a lot of times, like if I'm going through a life chapter of something and I'm on the other side of it, right? Because I've been in this kind of like a new beginning of a fresh new life for about a
Mm-hmm.
year, I'd say. And they'll show me, like if I ask for clarity about something, sometimes they show me like a year later. And what they do is they oftentimes will put um, two different souls, their life path numbers side by side to confirm, yes, this person is basically you're going through a similar cycle that you did with this person. Or the, like, for instance, my father is passing away right now. He's going to be passing away very soon. And so one of the things that they started showing me was my family members. They showed me who was who it was that was trying to confirm certain things for me first, so that I would know it's not just a generalized energy and it's not about somebody else. It was like the house number that he grew up in. All three of his immediate family members are passed away. So now, if I get a message, they'll show me that house that he grew up in, the address number, plus the year that he was born, plus his life path number. So when that started happening and those messages started happening, aside from doctors and all that stuff that my parents and I have info about, where there's a bridge of everything, right? For instance, they would start with like 99. 99 is basically, and then 999. That was like, no, we're serious. And then after that, I would ask, like, I would wonder, and because my manifestation and energy happens pretty fast, even within like a couple of minutes, sometimes a couple of seconds after wondering, like, is this like a beginning of the year thing? Like, what do I need to be prepared for? Because I really needed to consider the time frame of this because of travel, right? I was on the other side of the country preparing to buy a home at that time, literally in the first home buying process. So in those instances, they will come in when it's like important to understand the time frame. So they pair all that stuff together and it happens all simultaneously, all at once. Like, so that's the easiest way that I can describe the difference between the two. But when you're looking at tarot, if we're circling back to that, on those tarot cards, they are connected to numbers that are still connected to numerology. So, yeah.
You know, you talked a little bit about, I don't know if the right terminology is setting boundaries. But recently, I've been getting way more messages that are coming quicker and more aggressive, and at times, even when I least expect it, it just keeps hitting me. And I've had to step back and say, you know what? I got to draw the line. It's affecting me in ways that I don't want to be affected. And I need to say, Spirit, I need to cut this off right now. And everything that you want me to know needs to wait. Because it was just aggressive. It was so fast. It just kept coming in. And I believe it's because in the last week or so, I've been having conversations with people who are future guests. And some of it the conversation gets really drawn out. And I learn a lot more than I really thought I would in the conversations over the few days that I've been talking to people. I'm in a conversation with 17 different people or future guests at one time. And it was all these energies and messages that were coming through, and I was like, I got to stop. So I stopped talking to everybody on Instagram. All my DMs, all my texts, I just stopped. I needed to cut it off and say, okay, I'm going to take a break. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, energetically, I need to stop. And I think you alluded to that a little bit earlier about telling Spirit that you needed to take a break or take it a little bit easier on those messages, on the downloads. I think you said that a little bit earlier, so I get that. I understand. I think that.
Yeah, there's what you're talking about. I get quite often just because people will, see my content, like, because I do a lot of stuff on TikTok. That's where I'm in. So I get a lot of folks who will ask, like, I'm seeing, what does it mean? I don't know what to do. Like, it freaks people out that it's happening like rapid fire. And the thing is, oftentimes the reason why that's happening, it's not because we need to figure everything out and what to do with it and go, because that's divine masculine energy, the action, taking action on things. It's a lesson from Spirit. It's an opportunity to go into that divine feminine energy. It's so funny the timing that happens sometimes, because I work with the thunder god Donar, and sometimes sometimes it's like loud. Someone was like, hey. So anyways, a lot of the time what they're doing is teaching us, or if I'm talking to somebody, it's like spirit's just showing you a divine opportunity of, you don't need to do anything with it. It's time to just find ease into the divine feminine within you, because that's about receiving an observation, not taking action, right? So, and then how do you find a balance with both of them? So, yeah, I do hear about that a lot. And I think it's one of the tipping points that always happens right at the beginning of a spiritual awakening. Because what's happening in the frequency of the body, in the soul, in that 5D energy, is the frequency is expanding. So therefore, we're going to have access to more. It's clearing up. It's opening up, right? So Spirit is going to give us all these different opportunities to kind of refine our energy so that we really can feel stable and calm, while also, again, going back to balance. I always talk about balance, but the need for control, the need to do something, the need to contain stuff, that's coming from divine masculine energy. Most societies are built upon toxic masculinity and toxic productivity. Toxic productivity is a huge one. So people are not, a lot of times, adjusted at the beginning of a spiritual awakening to navigate their way through this. It's like talking and like Googling and hiding in the bathroom and laughing and then crying and then like, what?
I was at one point, I think messages were coming in so fast, and it was like fastballs coming in. And I remember saying out loud, I said, Spirit, I feel like I'm being spiritually violated. I feel like I'm being energetically violated. And I definitely don't want to feel that. I definitely don't want any part of that. I understand that there are messages that I'm being trusted to have, and I'm being trusted to interpret and deliver. But it got to the point where, 17 different conversations with 17 different levels of energy and stories and backgrounds and traumas and hurts. And last night, I think I spoke to someone on Instagram for the very first time, and it was funny because she thought I was trolling her, and she's a local person. And I said, listen, I can help you. Why don't you come on and join us in our community and share your collection of crystals and your knowledge of crystals with our community. We would love to have you join us and do that. And it went from, I told her I got about 20 minutes. We ended up talking for about 5 hours last night. And we got deep into some heavy stuff. And I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting this. But it was something I think we both talked about, our past traumas and our past hurts and the healing we've gone through and the courage it took for us to step out and to really find that resolution in our life that we needed. So she's actually going to be our guest in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Very nice young lady, beautiful daughter, cool. And I'm excited for her because it's for her. She's at the beginning of her journey.
That's beautiful. What a healing situation that you guys had. It's like sometimes we just never know what's going to happen in connection. And there's a reason for everything. Yep. None of it's a coincidence. So yeah, I love that. I think probably part of when you're talking about what you were just sharing about your journey with spirit. honestly, probably a lot of those deep-rooted feelings, especially subconsciously, are coming from your Chiron, because your Chiron is in Pisces, and it's in the 12th house, which is Pisces.
And I know
So
that's something we're going to get into.
the probably slightly, yeah. On that topic, um, but because Chiron is where your triggers are. It's the deepest triggers. Chiron is our wounded healer placement. So in terms of your the more that you
Mhm.
share openly with others as you heal, so making sure that you work on your own healing without feeling like you need to help other people through it first. As long as you continue to heal some of those aspects, you're going to basically, people are going to come into alignment with you who need the exact same kind of assistance. And as you heal that, you'll be on the other side of it, and then,
That's
you know,
that's
able to
amazing you
help them.
said that, because that's one of the things I think came up in conversation last night, was that for me, it came to a point where I really wanted to stop feeling all this hurt and anger, and learning to process it and get through it. And this is in the past a couple of years back. And I remember saying something like, I really feel like I've been put in the forefront to face um, the obstacles and the humps and the speed bumps on this journey of healing, and to lead the way, so that others behind me wouldn't have to face the same obstacles, who are on the same journey as I am. So it's funny that you said that. And before we go on, I want to make sure, she's been sitting in the dark. I know she is not feeling her best, but um, Grizz wanted to come up, and I know she wanted to say hi. So Grizz, I'm going to give you a couple minutes, if that's okay.
Hi, Tay.
Hey, Grizzy.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm excellent. It's so good to see
Good.
you. Or kind of,
Yeah,
you're there.
I'm dark.
Oh, how are you
I
feeling?
know. I feel bad because I'm under the weather, catching something, sinus, throat, the whole, thing. And so it feels good to be in the dark. So my sinus is just, not feeling good. So,
Oh, I'm
but I
so
want to
sorry.
come on. I'm like, I can't miss Tay.
Y'all are so cute. It's
Yeah,
like
and
the
it's so fascinating, like the numerology. We've talked about this before, and you've helped me out with some of the number sequences that I was seeing. But it just, to me, also numbers play a big part. Like for me, angel numbers are huge. That's kind of where a lot of my spirituality really heightened, was because I was just seeing a lot of the numbers, sequences, certain numbers that would attract me. And I was like, what does it all mean? Um, it started with my sister. She's older than me, and it started long, long ago. We're somewhat intuitive. And so she went, I think, through her thing, before me. And then so I kind of followed along. I was, seeing the whole numbers, and I was like, okay, I'm not the only one. My sister's seeing it too. So we would talk about it. I think she's more, how you were explaining what numbers, what sequences, what they mean to you. It's different for everybody. And so, like, she tells me what they mean for her, and for me it's different. And it's crazy because you have to figure it out. Like, you kind of have to go within and figure it out, by yourself, and connect with, spirit and intuition, and learn their language, learn like your language connection. So everyone's so unique. So, but I just always love hearing like your stories, and how you see everything, and your input. So yeah.
oh, thanks. Well, I'm glad that you enjoy it, or you could, get something out of it, because I'm just really, I think in the intuitive world, and especially like on the healer's path, we're pretty much just conduits. and then we bridge our 3D experiences, and we're there as a resource if people need us, you know. So
Yeah, exactly. So cool. It's funny because like it sounds so nice, like hearing the rain in the background, but when you were talking about spirit and you were getting so into it, like it's just like the storm just started roaring and the thunder, and I'm like, whoa, was that spirit?
yeah, yeah. There's the Donar is the thunder god. I discovered that oh my gosh, there was the craziest thing that happened one time. I was asking like, um, I was asking and I double checked on something. I don't tend to double check on stuff anymore.
Mhm.
But or like triple check, right? Um, where, but this one time I did, and right as I spoke, boom, this
Oh,
massive like he threw down the he threw
wow.
down the thunder, and I mean it shook my truck. Like
Oh my God.
literally, I was just like,
Wow.
okay, Roger that, Roger that.
You're like, okay, I hear you. You're here. You hear me. That's so amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's been interesting. Um, I think just a lot more has come out ever since I started down the shamanic path.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you know, it's still very fresh for me. And it's like, well, what's next? You know, like
So amazing.
so.
Yeah, that you're able to travel and really get into nature. I remember for a while there, I was, following you more. I think you're a little more on Instagram, right? I haven't gotten into TikTok quite a bit.
Yeah,
So, yeah, just following your journey through the states, you and Scrabble, and just, I mean, just, we shared that shamanism, that background site, a few times we talked, and you would tell your story of today I saw like a dead cricket, and I saw a crow or whatever, and then you just like you explained what it all meant in terms of shamanism and nature, and I was just like, it was very intriguing, and I think that helped me go more within with nature and with animals, and and I discovered my spirit animals, which Jade Tiger is one of my spirit animals. That's why I go by Jade Tiger on my account.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you've found more depth to your journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So yeah, as I know right now, I know three of my spirit animals, or actually I think four. The fourth one is a little more, I guess, shy or something, but and I saw that one of the spirit animals, which was, I saw it as a great big brown eagle. But then I saw that, it just had the power of, being regular sized eagle and then becoming large when I needed to just lay on him and just fly through and let all my worries free. So I discovered I'm into a little bit of the, past life hypnosis, hypnotherapy, and I've done a few past life regression. So I found out that I was a Native American at one point. I got the year 89 AD. And yeah, it's crazy. And I guess I was like the tribes like wise woman, healer, and my tribe was very much the eagle, you know, and I was able to see the brown eagle, and I was able to see some of the ways they praised it and everything. And then I found out that that's where I encountered my husband, my present husband. He was in that past life with me.
Beautiful.
But now I understand why we're living together this lifetime together again. What we couldn't have back then, because I dedicated myself to being a wise woman. So I couldn't have a family. So I couldn't be with him. So I feel like now we're together. We have a family, and it's just amazing. I've had a few other past regressions, and I think I talked to you about, my ex too being one of them and so forth. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of a little bit of my story with
Beautiful.
starting from the animals, the spirit animals.
I love that. I love this, uncovering that you've found. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. I'm loving this journey. It's very challenging and sometimes frustrating because, I'm just like, okay, what are you guys trying to tell me? I'm trying to grow my ambition. I'm not getting there fast enough, but I know I have to do more work, but I, I love it.
I think that that place where we want to get somewhere faster, that's honestly likely just coming again from the toxic productivity that we've
Yeah.
all been born and bred through,
Mm.
right? Like, it literally took me, I remember it was a very weird adjustment for me right out of the military.
Mhm.
And through that, about like 20, the middle of 2018 until, excuse me, until like probably like mid 2020. So it was still during when I had met a lot of you guys.
Mhm.
I, it was, it was a definite adjustment for me. It
Yeah.
was, it was weird. It was a strange feeling. And yeah, so I definitely get it. It's takes some adjustment.
It does. And it can take a lot of work, a lot of time, but you're absolutely right about the conditioning that we live in, today's society kind of has, but it's just becoming more rapid. If you don't do it quickly, you don't produce. And it's really, um, you know, dampening that spirituality, that part of us that everybody has. Everyone's born with it. Everyone's born with that, with intuition and special gifts. And it's just, the way society is, it really, I think, hinders that, you know. So I'm glad that, we can, put out, like you and other content video creators can put out like all this wonderful information about, spirituality and the journey. And I almost see it almost as a trend. Things come through trends, and I see it because I see what my kids, especially my daughter, follows on TikTok and so forth. And I feel like I see it more, or maybe I'm noticing it more than before. And I think it just kind of opens that door for people to kind of see the other side of us, you know, really our true background, our soul. Like, we're meant to be spiritual beings, so
Yeah,
it's
it's gonna it's gonna be an interesting year next year, you guys. Definitely. While I'm talking, I'm gonna grab something because the tent started. There's like a.
oh my,
Hang on one second. So I'm like trying to. That's why I've been like back here. I'm like, stop.
is it
It's just like super heavy duty. It's like a ginormous 10 by 10. When I'm doing the off grid stuff.
with the water, like a big hump with, is it,
Yeah,
did it?
it's just like a drip. But it's good. I just have to. It's just annoying. I just don't want it to get on my parts. Um, so what were we talking about?
Oh,
Sorry. I just,
2023.
yeah, it's yeah, next year is going to be an interesting one for sure, spiritually for everybody. Um, just it's a 7 global year
Mm-hmm.
for folks. It's my God, I'm so excited to just see what happens. But I think when I was looking at how to understand it so that I could explain it and connect the dots for people, like I have a lot of content that I'm going to be putting up and stuff like that again. I now try to do that in the fall and in the winter before the coming year. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to explain this stuff and breaking down different aspects and how it relates and what to keep in mind and why certain things are going to be occurring. 7 is basically, if we were to talk about astrology in connection with it, 7 and Pisces practically the same.
Oh, wow.
Practically the same energy. So next year is going to be like globally, very much everybody's going to be feeling a heavy Piscean energy. That's what it's going to feel like, except in numerology, so number 7. So, yeah, and you know what I really love about it was I was pretty blown away this year. Like, even I was shocked, even though I knew it was going to be happening with the 6 global number this year. It really blew me out of the water, like much farther beyond. I didn't have any expectations for what I had hoped the collective would be processing through or healing through or getting from point A to point B with. But the collective has just like blown me away in the best possible way. So I'm really excited because this year was all about, 6 in numerology is all about the nurture and the self-care, as well as the opposite side, going too far into that direction. So like one direction, healthy self-care, the opposite direction, addiction, right? Most at this point, what I've seen, like how I could describe this so people understand what I'm talking about. So I would say out of the hundreds of clients that I work with every month, sometimes into like the thousands, what I see consistently is those with a life path 6, most experience addiction.
Oh, wow.
Most process through addiction. So that was really interesting to see. And basically that would be like one extreme of the self-care versus the other side, right? And then so looking at it, like what the whole collective was experiencing this year was also about the generational trauma breaking. If we all look back and reflect on like the stories that we've heard, the things that we've been through, friends, family, all that stuff, partners, we've all guaranteed been either through something where we've had to deal with breaking generational trauma, really, dealing with that, or watching somebody else go through it. When it comes to like, it's even similar to like, I was surprised that the Me Too movement didn't happen in a 6 global number where everybody was just like, I've had enough,
Yeah.
So as we go into this next year, it's going to be really fascinating to see how this translates, because so the way that I would connect the dots for people, we can't access our intuition and clarity unless we're going within, right? Unless we're kind of clearing those pathways. And yeah, for those of us that are like heavy working, like I'm a full-time working psychic, like those messages are going to come through even if I'm foggy or whatever, but not nearly as much if I'm taking care of myself, right? So now that that layer has been shed and people are shedding and peeling back that onion and the layers on the onion, expansion can happen and intuition can be accessed even deeper. Connection with spirit can happen even deeper. Connection with the higher self. That's what we're moving into. So, yeah, and I'm going to buckle up my seat because I think this next year is going to be like none that I've ever experienced in terms of people like feeling like, what is happening in God's green earth? Like, why are all these numbers going on?
Can I interrupt
happen.
and ask a question, Tay? So Stacy asked, she's curious about next year being, I know you said the number 7 for upcoming year, 2023.
Yeah.
She asked if that would be significant for her life path, being that she is also number 7.
So, Stacy, no, for you guys that are life path 7s, as long as, so it's going to feel fairly comfortable for those of you guys that have been putting intention and time and effort into your spiritual path. Those that are life path 7s, like one of my best friends from childhood, life path 7, I can guarantee you it is going to be a rocky road for her because she's very practical, very like structured, tends to be uncomfortable with the spiritual stuff, even though we have conversations about it. So it's going to be a little challenging. It's going to be a little like jarring for folks like that. But then it also depends on the karmic lesson numbers. How is it playing a part between the life path number and the karmic lesson number and the karmic debt number?
Wow.
They all intertwine
Those are
together.
all terminology I've never
Yeah.
heard in my life. Honestly.
Yeah. So it's really easy to find that
I don't know,
stuff.
but
Why is this happening?
can you
I'm
speak
so
English?
sorry. I might
Can you
actually,
speak English? Because it sounds like you're
yeah,
speaking
yeah, no
Japanese
problem.
right there with all that karmic numbers.
If
Do you need to move,
there's
Che? Do you need
like
to move?
there's another spot, I basically have to like shake it off, but I don't want to do it with all my cards out. So what I might have to do if it becomes too much is I might just go into my truck because I work out of my truck a lot too, so it's fine. So I just take a few minutes and go
No
over
problem.
there.
And we can
Okay,
actually
what?
split the video if we needed to, if that works for you as well. I don't mind doing the second part. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no problem, Stacy. So what was the other thing that you guys were saying there was like a form? Oh,
So
the
yeah,
numbers.
Luca's like, wait, speak English.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm a simple guy. You
Um,
got to use $3 words on me. You start using $5 and $10 words, you lose me. You got to keep me at the $3 level. All right. My dictionary is only 5 pages. That's my dictionary.
okay, so one of them is called the karmic lesson number. The other is called the karmic debt number. We either have one, both, or none.
Okay.
You can find that out by literally just Google the phrase and just pick one of those sites that'll give you the calculator for it.
Mm-hmm.
One is going to be based off of your birthday. One's going to be based off of your name at birth. Now, I get a lot because a lot of trans people find me on TikTok because I'm a trans dude. So I get a lot of questions about like, wait, does that mean I have to use my dead name for that? And yes, it's very important because we chose our names, and then basically that just goes into a longer thing. So I'll leave it there. But it is really important. That's obnoxious. It is really important to consider the birth name and not like not a married name, nothing. Whatever the birth name was.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I didn't know that we actually could have just one of the numbers. I thought like maybe we had to have all the karmic debt, all of that. I thought we all had that because, we've all had past lives, literally. I mean, yeah.
What it means is like if somebody, so it's very rare that I come across like any clients or anything like that that don't have one or both. All it means is that if you come into this lifetime not having either, you're in a fresh slate, having cleared karma
Karma.
up to
Yeah.
that point. Now, keep in mind, we add karma every day. We add and subtract karma every single day, every waking hour, right? So, it just, that's pretty much the deal. So the difference though, which is important to understand, is karmic debt number. If you have a karmic debt number, that is a number that you have because in this lifetime, you are paying back for being abusive on one of those topics. The 4 karmic numbers are 13, 14, 16, and 19.
Oh my gosh, that's my I think I remember talking to you about him. His birthday's August 19th, and he's the one that I had a past life that I know
Yeah.
one of the major lives that I'm dealing with right now
And you
with
said
him.
that's
Yeah.
karmic debt number.
So
Is that what
basically,
that is?
if we're born, yeah. So how, just to make it like super easy and organized for people to understand in layman's terms, the day of birth is our very last lifetime. So I was born on the 17th of February. That means I was a 17, which means I was an 8 life path number in my very last lifetime, plus my south node. So those are the two that show through our astrology and our numerology charts our very last life that we lived. And then basically, so for like, if you talk about your ex who was born on the 19th, that means in his last life, he was paying back for those past abuses. But
Mm,
what I have seen happen is that the energy just gets translated. Things don't get cleared, so
yeah.
it comes, and we feel that soul connection and that soul draw to some of those experiences or some of those triggers.
Mm,
And then in terms of the karmic lesson number, that's going to be something like, out of the two, I just have the karmic lesson number. My karmic lesson number, I just have one of those. So the karmic lesson number is a number where our soul really wanted to refine that energy more. So we get a chance to take stuff that we've had a tough time with in cycles in this lifetime,
yeah.
coming from past life stuff where it's still that residual energy. We have a chance to turn it into good karma,
Mm,
which I was genuinely wondering, like, I want to see this. I'm going to experiment on myself, and sure as shit,
Hmm.
it really is true. I'm living proof. Putting all these different things together,
mm-hmm.
it's all happened and it's all happening. So, because I don't tell people for sure that it's going to happen or 100% unless I've either done research and lived through it or walked multiple clients through something and can see the connection point, right?
Okay. Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. That taps in so much into what I'm researching right now with past life regressions and so forth. It's cool. It's like mind blowing.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
Tay, let's
amazing.
take a short break, Tay. I'd
Beautiful.
like to um, again announce our guest tonight is Tay. Tay, how do you pronounce your last name? I tried to pronounce it in my head, and I tried to pronounce it out loud. And again, I'm the $3 guy with the 2-page dictionary. Would you please pronounce your last name for me?
It's a It's not a very complicated Italian last name, even though it looks like it's
Caravelli.
Caravelli.
Got it. And
Yeah,
your IG, the
Taylor
IG that
Caravelli.
you're going to be using is the Kaulo Art. Okay, so those of
Yeah,
you who are in the
yeah,
room
that
that
was
are
a
watching
spiritual
in
name that I.
chat, please make sure you follow Tay on Instagram if you are not already. And I'd like for you to share your TikTok with us as well so that people who are on TikTok can see I know you said you're there mainly on TikTok. So we'd like to have some of our people in our community go visit your
Yeah,
TikTok.
I TikTok is my home for the most part. So that can be found also. It's Unbound Soulfire Healing. You're just gonna want. I would highly suggest, because there's a lot of impersonators. I cannot even tell you how many people they contact people. They make fake accounts about me. It's just endless. So just go to the link tree in my IG, and you'll see the direct link to
Okay,
my profile.
cool.
So yeah,
I
yeah.
think I got that information. So that's good. And again, Grizz is like blowing my mind because she's talking about things that I didn't know she was actually uh, uh, studying and working with. Because I don't, it's not part of our everyday conversation. So this is good. I like this. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that about that. So um, let's
Right.
take a time check real quick. It's been about an hour and 15 minutes, which is good for when we download videos, especially on my side. I'd like for you to take a little bit of break, and then the next part, I will probably start a second video. It's just a little bit easier for me that way to do editing. Sometimes when I have to edit a 3-hour video, it just gets really messed up. So, uh,
Yeah, no problem.
okay,
I
good.
know the feeling.
And then if you wanted to make an adjustment on your tent or anything like that, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, so what works, how many minutes works for you? 5, 10, 15 minutes?
Definitely more than 5 because I've just got to move all my decks over there.
Okay,
but
so my watch right
not
now says
it won't
it's
take.
about 7:15. So let's say
I forget about how much
right.
time difference there is. I'm good with
And
whatever.
I do want to make sure that you're set and everything is safe for you and stuff like that. So how about we resume again our second half in about 10 minutes. So for me it'll be like 7:25. Will that work for you, Tay? Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And then if you need a little bit more time, I'll message you when I'm about to log on. For those of you who are watching, we're going to do a second, and this is where, I mean, we've already started to get into the meat and potatoes of the intuitive numerology and also talking about karmic debt numbers, karmic lesson numbers. There was one more you talked about. Wait, I got karmic lesson numbers.
So if you want, go. You guys are more than welcome because it's not like normally I get slammed inside my content and also like in my lives to answer a lot of these questions. So I end up having to tell people just reach out to me, set up a session, like because I'm just maxed, right? So that helps me with my self-care and stuff. But because there's a it's an okay number. If you guys all want to go and like if we have time, I'm happy to clarify if you guys need help with your stuff beyond Luca's reading. But again, the easy way to find the karmic lesson numbers is just Google the phrase karmic lesson number, karmic debt number. I know there's a website that's really good. I like his stuff. It's 7 Life Pass. That's one website. And then the other thing is to get your personal year number, which we'll be talking about as well, is you're literally just taking your day and your month and adding it to it'll be a lot easier to describe this to people so you guys can do it on your own because it'll only take a second. So basically, if we look at Luca's, his PYN is 6 next year. All I did was he was born on June 11th. So I'm taking 6 plus 1 plus 1. That's what he does every year and adds it to the current year. You just replace the year of birth with the current year. So you get your personal year number. So, and then if you guys want to calculate your life path numbers, that one is just all the single digits in your birthday. You total them back together. Like Luca's totals to 30, that becomes 3 because 3 and 0. So that's how you get those basic pieces.
Okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's take a 10-minute break and then log back on. Tay, you can get yourself settled, and then we'll hop back on and do a part 2. That's when we'll be able to do the reading. Okay.
Sounds good. We'll see you guys in a bit.
Sounds good. We'll see you guys in a bit.
Yeah. We'll see you guys in 10 minutes.